Hey there, it's Ben, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up this church website that you're seeing right now. This is the template that you'll be getting by the end of this video, and you'll be able to customize all of this stuff. So on this version, I've changed the colors and the logo and some other things, and we have all of these different pages, including a plan your visit page so that you can get contact information about prospective visitors. You have a what we believe page so you can share all of that information with people. You have a sermons and media tab that's going to be linked to your YouTube channel, and it automatically pulls in the latest videos. And a highly requested feature from my last template, you're going to now have a donations page that you'll be able to collect donations from people and more. All of this completely customizable, and the template is entirely free. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or an expert when it comes to websites, I'm going to walk you through step by step. So even if you're a complete beginner when it comes to websites, I'm going to again show you everything you need to do to get this online. And I promise it'll only take at tops 2 hours, and that includes all the time it will take to customize this to your liking. The best part about this template over all the other templates you might find online is that I've pre-written a lot of the content for you. So for example, on the plan your visit page, I've already given you stuff. You just have to come in here and change simple little variables to fit your church and your information or your ministry. You can use this for a church, you can use it for a ministry, you can use it for any number of things, and the template is already ready to go. There's forms that are set up. So for example, if you want to have a prayer request form, you can have that on your site. That's already ready to go. And the site looks beautiful on mobile as well. It's super easy to customize, it's super easy to edit, it's all drag and drop. You don't need to be an expert. Before we actually get into the setup part, I want to show you what's needed for a website. So first things first, you do need the actual site, the files, the design, what makes a website the website, what I just showed you, all that stuff that's already built there. So that's going to be usually $500 to $5,000, but I'm giving this part to you for free, and it's the most expensive. The next thing that you need is web hosting. This is where you take those files, the actual site, and you have to kind of put it on the internet. And so you have to rent this. It's like an electric bill, for example. You have to pay every month or every year. And so usually this is $10 to $50 per month, but I have a special deal for you in just a second. And then the last thing you need is a domain name. And this is how people actually get to your website. So for example, churchexample.com or firstbaptistdallas.com. This is what people are going to type in to get to your website. And these are usually $10 to $20 per year, depending on where you buy them from. And I'm going to show you my recommended place in just a second. So like I said earlier, you're going to get the actual website completely free, the entire template. So you're not going to pay a single dime. In fact, to go get it right now, just click the link in the description below. You will need to get web hosting and a domain name to actually get this website online. And this doesn't matter. Everywhere you're going to have to pay monthly because there's an actual cost to these things. Nobody can give them away for free. Now, I do have a special deal with hosting.com. I'm going to be upfront with you. You do not have to do this deal at all. So if you already have hosting or you want to get it from someplace else, don't worry about it. But if you do want to use my special deal, I will get a small commission from hosting.com. That's a way that you can support me without actually having to pay me. And it's for something that you'd already need anyway. But you can go to benjamindenny.com/hosting, and it's $36 for your first year, and it includes a domain name. So you get an entire year of hosting and a domain name for $36. That is a great deal. It does renew at a higher price, so I just want to mention that to you, but I'll make a video in the future about how to actually switch web hosts, and so you can kind of bounce back in between them if you want to save a little bit of money. But it renews somewhere around $100 per year, which is still great. That's about $10 a month. Now again, this is an affiliate link. I'll get a small commission. You do not have to use my hosting, but if you do, I'll install the template for you. What I mean by that is I'll actually, after purchase, you send me an email to this email on screen, and I will go in to your hosting account and I'll upload the template. And then you can come back to this video and you can watch the next half of this video, which walks you through how to edit it, how to actually use it. So that way you're not dependent on me or anybody else. You can actually edit the template and you can customize your website anytime that you need to. So again, if you want to use my hosting, you don't have to, then I'll install the template for you. So you just go to benjamindenny.com/hosting and you can get that. Now, in the next step here, I'll walk you through actually purchasing the hosting because there is a little bit of a secret to get a completely free domain name for that first year. And again, your price will be just around $36 plus tax. And if you're tax exempt, you have to contact them afterwards in order to get that removed. But anyway, without getting into all those details, this is the best deal I could find and set up for you. And by the way, I actually use hosting.com myself. So I'm not just, go use hosting.com. But listen, Like I've said, 3-4 times in this video, if you don't want to use hosting.com, don't worry about it. Use the template and enjoy it. So if you have any questions about any of this, if you have questions about the template, you get stuck, put them in the comments below. I will be checking them, I will be reading them, and I will be responding. That being said, in the whole next part of this video, I'm going to be walking you through step-by-step everything from getting hosting to actually installing WordPress to getting the template installed and then setting every single part of this website up. And it won't take as long as you think if you just follow along. All right, thanks, and I'll see you in the next part. All right, so to get hosting, I'm going to show you how to do this here on hosting.com. Get to here by going to benjamindenny.com/hosting. That'll take you to this page. And this is an affiliate link, so I will get a small kickback like I mentioned. I just want to be upfront with you about that. You don't have to use hosting.com, but it's what I've been using, and I found that it's pretty good, especially for the price. So when you get to this page, you're going to go to WordPress up here at the top. Now there's several options. That's why I'm walking you through this step by step. Click this first option, Hosting for WordPress. If you choose Manage Hosting, that's more expensive. So go ahead and click this, and then scroll down, and you're going to see Standard Plans or Managed. Just choose Standard. That is the cheapest option to get started. So right down here, you're going to see these different options. Now, first, you can either really choose the Starter or you can choose the Plus, and really the only difference is the amount of storage space. And to be completely honest, 15 gigabytes is probably enough. Now you got to look at the fine print because it's $2.99 a month, and that's for the 1-year term. So you're going to pay $35.88 today, and then when it renews in 1 year, you'd pay $107. This one is a little bit more, $131. Again, you're getting a little bit extra storage, which you probably don't need. So I would actually go with this starter plan right here. So go ahead and click Buy Now. And the best part is this actually includes a free domain name. So I already explained that you need that domain name. This has that for absolutely no additional cost. As you can see, includes a free .com, .org, or .net name in the first year. Now again, on renewal, that costs money. Okay, so billing term, you can do 1 year. You can even do 1 month, and it's $10.99. But for the first year, you might as well stick on the yearly. So that's the best deal to go ahead and buy it per year. And then choose your server location. If you're in the United States, Dallas will be the best one. And then where it says account domain name, you're most likely going to click register domain name, and this is where you would put in your church. So I'll just put in a name really quick. And so this will pop up, and I'm just going to have to put in something kind of weird just to see if I can get one that's available. But for you, you would try to find a domain name that makes sense for your church name or your ministry. And so you might not be able to get the .com. A lot of them are taken. You might have to go with a .org, for example. That's pretty common for churches, .org, so that's not a bad thing. Okay, so as an example, I'm going to go ahead and choose this first one here, and it's a .com. Now, don't worry about the price just yet, and you'll notice there's a little bit of a trick going on. They're mentioning for the first 2 years. I'll show you how to get around that. So go ahead and click Add, and then we'll click Add Domain to Basket, and then it's going to load for just a second, and it's going to take us to essentially the final checkout screen. And there is an important step if you want to get this at that absolutely lowest price. Okay, so it gets us here. It shows us, our account and domain name. We're going to click Add to Basket. And so that's going to go ahead and get it. Now you see $35.88, and there may be some taxes that we have to pay, but that's going to be about the amount that you're going to pay for your first year, and then you'll be able to install the template on here. So these are some different offers. You probably don't need these. You can get them later. Just click Continue. Now, right here you see the price, $57. What? I thought this was, $35.88. Well, it is, except the domain name, they're charging us 2 years. So we have to click this little pencil icon on the domain name, the first thing in the list, and then where it says 2-year term, change this to 1 year, and you'll notice it says free now, and then press Continue. So that is the little thing that they're doing. I get why they're doing it. They're trying to get you to go ahead and lock it in for 2 years, but just go ahead and do it for the 1 year for now. That way it's free. You can always change hosting, and you can change where you buy this domain through later on. So now it's $35.88, and again, you will have to probably do plus taxes, but at this point, go ahead and create your account. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, and so now you'll get to the final checkout page, and this is where you'll put in your payment information, and you'll get signed up. If you are tax exempt, you'll have to contact them after you make the payment. They can refund you on the taxes. Once you finally complete your purchase, you will get an email with your login details, and then you'll be able to go to the hosting.com and sign in. Okay, so then here is my dashboard, and what you would do is click the Login to Control panel. So that will take you to a screen that looks something like this. And the next step is that you're going to go to your WordPress manager over here on the left. Now your domain should already be added in here, but you'll click on the WordPress manager and you might get these pop-ups here. Now I already have a site in here, but what you would do is you'd press install and then you would choose your domain. It would be right here. You'll scroll down. You'll put in an admin username and password. Just note these down. These are going to be changed once we actually install this, but remember the username and password because you do need that. And then scroll down to the very bottom and press install. Once that's done, you've actually installed WordPress, and now we just have to get the template onto the site. Okay, so now that you have your hosting and your WordPress installed, you should be seeing something similar to this. In my case, this is just the default WordPress page that I'm seeing. And so now we need to actually install the template. To do that, you're going to come up here to whatever your domain name is. You'll do /wp-admin, and that will take you to the login page here. Now, for me, mine is just going to be admin, but for you, you probably set this up during the setup that we just did earlier. So whatever it is, go ahead and enter that in. In my case, I'm getting some pop-ups about that insecure password. The next step is to come over here to the plugins tab and click add new. Then we're going to type in WP Vivid. And this is a plugin that we're going to use to import the file you have already downloaded. So we'll go ahead and click this first one, WP Vivid, 800,000 active installations, then click activate. Okay, now you're going to see this screen, and this screen can be a little bit overwhelming, not going to lie, but it's easy. All you have to do is scroll down and click this upload tab right here, and then scroll down again, click select files, and then just select the file that you had already downloaded in the prior step. As you notice, it says WP Vivid in it. We'll click upload, and then there it is, and then we click upload one more time right here. So this progress bar moves forward, then we get a pop-up, the upload is completed. It might take a little bit longer on your end, don't worry if it does. And then now all we have to do is scroll down some, and we can see our backup right here. So in my case, it's saying it was uploaded right now today, and we're going to click this restore button right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just right there at the bottom. And then we have to click restore right here one more time, and confirm it one more time. Now the reason it's confirming this, I'm going to close it out, is because it says restoring will replace the current site's themes, plugins, upload, basically whatever you have here. So if you had an actual site already here, this would actually override and replace it. But since you are using a brand new install, if you're following my steps, we don't have to worry about that. So we'll just say okay, and then now you're going to see some stuff pop up on here, and this usually takes 5 to 10 minutes. So it'd be a good time to go, refill your coffee cup or something along those lines. Take a quick break if you want. Again, usually 5 to 10 minutes. I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, so when it's complete, you're going to get a pop-up message like this, restore completed successfully. If you got failed, just try it again. Go ahead and click OK, and the page will refresh usually, and you're going to be back to the login screen. However, this login has changed because, again, the whole site was changed. The new login is going to be church admin, and the password is also the same, church admin. So go ahead and put those in and press login. Now again, you might get some pop-ups, change your password. No problem, we're about to do that. So that's actually our first step, is we're going to come into here, go to the users tab, click church admin, scroll all the way down, set new password, and I would recommend just copying the passwords that they generate for you because these are really strong passwords. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and copy that over into my notes. I'm going to scroll all the way down and click update profile. So that's now my new password. So my username is church admin and my password is whatever I just said. The next thing that you're going to want to do is change the email address here to your new email. So I'll put in my email address. Okay, so if I do that and I press update, what's going to happen is it says there's a pending change right up here at the top. Your email has not been updated yet. Please go check your inbox. Now, in my case here, this is just an example. You're going to get an email very similar to this right here. So it will probably look like this. You recently requested to have your email changed. Click this link. So I'm going to click that. And now it says profile updated. And so my email's been updated. All right. The next step is we need to go change some of our site settings. So go to settings, general. And you're going to want to update the site title to whatever your church name is. So I'll just make up one. I'll just say First Baptist. And then I would highly suggest, for SEO reasons, so that you show up in Google when people search for a church in your city or state, that you put in your city and state. So I'll put in, Dallas, Texas, for example. Okay, scroll down some and change the administrator email address as well. So I'll put in, my email at example.com. Next, you can change your time zone if needed, and the date format and all of this. Okay, so we saved that. There is a pending change here, so I'll go back to my email inbox. I'll go ahead and click the confirmation, and once again, that has been confirmed. Okay, the next step is we have already updated our church name here, but if we come up here to the little home icon, we click this, we need to update our church name in really like our header and our footer in those areas. So to update this right here, go to Edit Elementor, click Header, and we're just hovering over that, by the way. I didn't click Edit Elementor, I just hovered over it and then clicked the header button. And now I can come in here, I can click in here, and I can type in, whatever my church name was. Now let's just say, for example, it was a little bit too big. What can I do? Okay, there's a couple options. First option is you can actually kind of move your mouse to this dotted line right here, and you could drag it over some to make it fit. The menu will shrink automatically. So as you can see, we could move it over. You don't want to move it over too much so that the menu goes on two lines. So, that would probably be about it. You could also go to the Style tab right here. So Style, click this little pencil icon, and you can drag the size down some if you need to. So that's another way if you want to do that. All right, what if you have a logo? So this is if you don't have a logo, you can just come in here and edit it. If you do have a logo, go over here to Image. So what I did was I clicked the plus button right up here at the top. We see Image, first column, second row. Just drag that right under there. And then so it puts a little placeholder for us. And then over here we click and hover over that. And now we can actually choose a logo. So I conveniently had a logo in here, so I'll throw that in here. And then you would delete this. So to delete, I'm right clicking and I'm just going to press delete. So as an example, there's the logo. If I wanted to be a little bit bigger, I just click on it, come back over to the Style tab, and then I could increase and change the width. So as you can see, that's honestly about as big as it gets. All right. If we wanted to be a little bigger, we might have to move the menu and things. And so, we could get it to, about there probably. Okay, perfect. What else do we need to change here? Mostly just this stuff at the top. So if we come over here to the top, we see all these things. We'll go ahead and click that. And all we want to do is we click in these little drop downs and we update the information. So as an example, we could do 555, 555, and you can see it's updating live, so you can see exactly how it looks. Same thing with the email. And let's say you don't have an email. You don't want to put an email, no problem. You just press this little X and it goes away. If you want to undo something, press Control or Command Z, it'll come back. Same thing with your church address, put that in. The only other thing that you really need to change, other than colors if you want to, is you can come up here, you click the little pencil for these social icons, and you can put in your Facebook page, your YouTube link, any other social media. So that is an option there. If you want to add another social media, you can press Add Item. As you can see, it kind of adds it there. You click into here, and you can find all the social media. So if you have some other social media, for instance, you can put that there. Okay, so I'll close that for now. We'll delete those. We'll assume we updated these. The one thing I didn't show you is how to change colors. And there's a couple ways to do it. The first way is we can come into all of these little things. Like I'm clicking the main section up here for this top bar. I go to Style, and I can see that there's this color, this red color. And so I can change this to anything I want. As you can see, you can make it, whatever you want, right? And it will update live, so you can do that. However, you probably don't want to do that for the entire site. And so that's actually why what I did was we set these global colors. And these global colors can be changed in one spot, and then they'll change all the way throughout the site. So what we'll do is save our changes by clicking Publish, so any changes you did. And then right up here at the top, click this Site Settings. So it is this little settings icon right here where my mouse is. And then we can click Global Colors right at the top. And so here's all of our global colors. And so if I wanted the entire site to, change to like a blue color, for instance, which I'll do that for now, then I can do that. And I'd probably want to make the accent color the same. Some things are using that. So, as an example. And now you can see my buttons, my top bar, all of that has kind of changed to that. So you'll have to play around with this to see, how you like it, for example. But that's how it works. Okay, so we'll click the X. We're now back in the header editor. And as you can see, these colors are used all throughout the site. Okay, to get out of this editor, we just click this E, the logo at the very top left, and then exit to WordPress. And now we're out, and we'll go back to the home page. So as you can see, that blue color has changed all the way throughout the site. So when you get ready to do this for your own site, edit your own site, that's what you're going to want to do. The next step is to change the footer, because we kind of need to update the footer. The header's updated now, so we have our logo there. We can go to any of these pages, and the header looks great. But now the footer, it's not our information. Okay, so we go to Edit Elementor, just hovering. We click Footer. Okay, this loads, and we essentially do the exact same changes. So, I can come in here, I can put a logo in, grab my logo, delete this, for instance, if I need to, update this little blurb about our church and things, and then our contact info can be updated. And largely, these links are good to go. You don't need to necessarily change those. The footer, the very bottom bar, you'll want to change your church to whatever your church's name was. So that's just an example there. And then press publish. So that's really all there is to do. You can come in here and tweak all the little things if you want. Like, for example, these dividers, you can change the colors and say primary, do the same over here. So there's a lot that you can do, but for brevity's sake, we'll leave it at that. You can learn a lot more about Elementor. Okay, so we'll go back to our home page. So at this point, we've changed our admin password, we've got all the emails set up, we've added our church name and our logo to our header and footer. The next thing that we want to do, and we're skipping ahead just a little bit, so we're going to have to come back to actually editing these pages, but as an example, some of our pages have these forms on them where people can, fill out information, and this will get sent to you or somebody at your church. Where do these forms go when somebody does that? They get sent to an email address that's set up here in Fluent Forms. So there's 3 forms. There's a contact, a plan your visit, and a prayer request. So for each of these, you'll just hover over and click Settings, and then we'll click on the email notifications right here at the bottom. And this is where you'll want to add a notification. So you'll click Add Notification, New Notification, then you'll put in the email address. So again, my email at example.com. And then you could say, new contact, form submission. Okay, so that'll work. And then in here, you click Add Shortcodes, and you can put in essentially like all the stuff. So as an example, you can just say all data. That's probably the easiest. And then that way you get everything. So we'll save that. And now we have this new email notification that's saved. Okay, so let's go test it really quick. So we'll come here, we'll click Contact Us. And as you can see, you might have to update some of these settings, like if you change the colors. If you don't change the colors, it's going to look great out of the box. Okay, so we'll submit this. So I'll say, Ben test. We don't even have to submit any of this. I am testing the form, Okay, and then we'll click Submit. That message shows up there. We come back to our email, and as you can see, we got this. So it said name, and then I'm testing the form. So whatever fields they put in would be shown to us. Okay, perfect. So you'll do that for all the forms. So again, go to Fluent Forms, click on Forms, and then go to Settings for each of these. Click Email Notifications, and if you do see one like this, for example, that says Admin Notification, well, that will get sent to you if you turn this on. But you can always also just follow or click the Add New Notification and put in the email address. So the forms can each go to different people. So maybe the prayer request goes to somebody else. The plan your visit might go to your pastor or welcome team. So you can kind of put in multiple emails as well. If you need to actually send something to multiple people, that's possible as well. You use commas for multiple emails. So that would be, ben@example.com, comma, test@example.com. That would go to both of those. So that's one way to do it. The other thing too is that you can always come into the back end and click Entries, And if you scroll down, you'll be able to see all the entries and click view, and you can see all the stuff that they sent, some information about that as well. All right, so now we've updated the forms. The next step is to really go through all the pages and just edit the content. And it's super easy to do. So all you do is you go to any page you want to go to. So we're on the home page for now. And you just click this, Edit with Elementor. We've been hovering, but you click it, and that brings you into this editor right here. And you can come into here, and you can change all of this text. And you really just click and edit. So, you can type in whatever you want. As you can see, it's a live editor. So as I'm making changes, it does that live. All of these buttons and things are already linked. But again, you can come in here and change styling options and everything else. To change like these background images, kind of get to a spot where, I'm hovering over this text right now. So kind of move your mouse up here, right click, click edit banner or edit section, click style, and you'll see these images. So you could change the image, for example, if I wanted to switch it to, somebody reading their Bible, that is an option. And so you can upload, of course, your own images. How do you do that? Well, click choose image and then click upload files. And this is where you would select files from your computer that you've already downloaded or saved, and you can bring them into the site to use. So you're going to want to go through all of this. This structure thing, you can close that if you'd like. And you'll just simply want to update the text if you want to. The beauty of the template, of course, like I've already mentioned, is that you don't necessarily have to go through and update all of this, but there are certain things, like for example, at church name, you'll probably want to, read through this and update it, probably swap out the images as well. But out of the box, a lot of it's going to work. If you decide you don't want a section, so just like as an example, maybe you don't want this about our pastor, you can just delete it. So you can come up here and just press delete, and now it's gone. And so I've made the template flexible enough that you can do that. And you can also undo those changes with Command or Control Z. All right, let's scroll down some. We have a photo gallery again. I think it's important to show people what your church actually looks like on the inside and the outside, especially the inside, because people are going to an unfamiliar place for the first time. Okay, news and updates. If you want to have this section, it's really easy. To add new stuff, you can just really click into here, and you'll see this thing that says accordion items, and you can just press add item, and it will add one. So you put in a title, so maybe I don't know, let's just say men's Bible study, and you can put in the information. So this would be you kind of manually updating that. As an example, meeting, was an updating meeting on Tuesday, or something like that. So obviously you'd write more information and things. You can even add images if you really wanted to in those things. So, if you for whatever reason, needed an image, you could certainly insert one as well. So that's pretty flexible. And all of this stuff is, so you can just click into here and change these things. And when you're ready to save your changes, you click publish. And then to get out of that, you can just click that logo, exit to WordPress, and go back to the home page in this case. And so now our changes, they've been kind of reflected. We had the men's Bible study and those things. Okay, so you'll do this for all the pages. And there's certain things like up here, like you'll want to put in your address and your service times and update all this information. This form largely already works, so there's really not much to do there. What we believe, again, this is just text, so you'll just come in here and edit this, copy paste from maybe a Word document if you have one. And our contact us page, same exact thing. I'll edit this one because there's a couple new items here. So first is this map. What do we do here? Well, first, if we just click the little pencil icon, then you can put in the location. So you can throw your address in there, and then it will go there. The map will automatically update. Then you'll want to come and make sure you update your address, your phone, your email. If you don't want to have an email or a phone or something, you can just delete this. So like that's an option. You can just get rid of it. It's not a problem. The contact us form we've already discussed, so that's done. Okay, fantastic. So let's see, what else do we have? There's a couple other ones. If you scroll down, you do have these two pages. How can I be saved? Again, if this isn't necessary for your site, you can delete this page and delete that block. But this is here. It's already been made for you. Submit a prayer request. This one as well. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, you can let people submit a prayer request, and this is that same form. So that's pretty straightforward. If you wanted to add some additional text and things, you could. Okay, so we're almost done. Now there's just a couple more pages, and for me, these are the most exciting pages. The first is the Sermons and Media page. Now, there's a few ways to handle this. If you don't have any sermons and media, you can just get rid of this page. Obviously, it's linked as well from like the home page, so you would want to probably update this and remove it, but that's fine. Here's what I would recommend. I would recommend that you upload your videos to YouTube, for instance, and then we have a plugin already installed called YouTube Feed. So to set this up, you'll click YouTube Feed, click Add New, and then just press Next, and then it's going to say API key required and all of this. Click Connect a YouTube account instead. And then we'll click Connect a YouTube account. And then we'll click Connect again. And then select your Gmail account for your YouTube. And then select your actual account and give it permission. And it might give you this error. I was already testing this earlier before making this video, so I'm going to follow their directions and do the manual connection. So let me do that really quick. Okay, so they want me to paste some things in. That's no problem. Okay, so now we'll click Next, and then you have to put in your channel ID. And so they give you some examples here, and it might have already pre-filled this for you. Okay, so as an example, I'm going to copy this church here. This is the church I go to, and so I'll throw that in there, and then just press Next at the top or the bottom. And it'll load for a second. It's going to give you some instructions, and you can read through those. I'm going to close that. But now you have this, basically this grid here, essentially. And you can come in here and change some settings, but I will let you know that essentially a lot of the settings in here are actually premium, meaning like, for example, if we came in here and we changed the template and we said cards, for instance, it wants us to upgrade. If this is important to you, then you can upgrade, and it may be worth it to you. But you can also use it completely free. So let's just say, we like this, we're ready to use this. We click Embed, we click Copy. That's all we have to do is just copy this, press Save. So that's saved. Let's go back to our Sermons and Media page. Let's edit it. And then, this is so simple. You come over here and you type in short, and you look for this one called short code. It looks like this. And you drag that right there to where that plus symbol is, right there. And then, in this box right over here, we just paste in that thing that we copied just a second ago. And as you can see, it already is kind of doing something. Just click Publish, don't worry about that. And then we'll exit, and we'll go back to the page, Sermons and Media. And as you can see, here's all the YouTube videos. And so as an example, when you click one, it just does a pop-up, and it brings that YouTube video up. So it's really great. So this will automatically update. So as you upload new videos, they'll just immediately show up on your site. So this is what I would recommend. There are other options. You can get other hosting, and you can bring the videos in. There's ways to kind of manually do that. But this is the easiest, and it doesn't require you to update it because it just pulls from YouTube. So I would highly suggest just using this. Okay, the last thing that we have to do is the donation setup. This was something when I previously offered this template, I had a lot of people wanting to know, how can I set up a donation or a tithes and offerings page? And so I'm going to show you how to do that. So as you can see here, we have this beautiful page, and people can come in here, they can select an amount, they can donate, they can put in their information, and we'll say next. And as you can see, I'm in test mode right now, so nothing's going to be processed. But I can go ahead and say donate, and then it says thanks for your donation, and you can change all this stuff as well. But it will send them a receipt. They even have a dashboard where they can come and they can see all the donations that they've given. They can get their receipts if they need to. They can, print all of these things. And so that way, if at tax time, that can be done as well. And then, of course, they will get emails about this. So, for instance, here's our donation receipt. And then up here is the email that goes to the admin saying, hey, you got a new, donation and things. So how does this work? Well, in the back end here, we have something called GiveWP. It's right under Fluent Forms, so GiveWP. And what GiveWP is a plugin that kind of lets you do these donations. So here's what I would do. I would actually click the setup down here at the very bottom. And of course, they have this campaign. That's the first thing I would click on, is customize. And I would just name this, I don't know. It really just depends on what you want. I'm going to just name mine donations. You can put this, whatever. You can add images. And where it says details of your campaign, you probably don't want to necessarily set a target amount unless it was for something specific. So you could just say, number of donors, and you can just leave that. Honestly, this progress bar doesn't really show up anywhere. You can change the colors, so that's fine. And we can press update. Okay, fantastic. So this kind of lets you see that. These are the settings for it, our donations campaign. And then we do have these forms here. And so we have a form such as this one, which we set up. And this is where you could come in and you could essentially edit the form by clicking on build. This is going to walk you through all of that. So I'm kind of showing you how to do it, but same exact thing. So yeah, so you can always go to those instructions. So you can change these amounts. So as you can see, like you can change these to 100 or whatever. You can let them enter an amount. So there's other options. You can change that. So lots and lots of different stuff. There is also a way to set up recurring donations, but you do have to pay for that. So that one is a paid thing. So like, for example, to edit the text right here, you would just click in here and you can edit this right over here. Okay, so when you're done, you can change the design. So this kind of says, like, do you want to do like a 2-panel? Probably not. Classic is this, and it's really kind of just a really long form. I wouldn't do that. I would do multi-step, and this is the best in my opinion. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this. I don't want to save any of those changes, but I was showing it all to you. Go back to the setup. The next step is to connect a payment gateway. So how are people actually going to pay? Because right now we're in test mode. You can see that right up here at the very top. But yeah, we can't actually accept a donation right now. When we went to do that earlier, as you saw, it said we are in, let me just put in my name really quick. We're in test mode, so these aren't actually being processed. So you can connect it to Stripe. You can do PayPal. That's the option. And if you don't have those, you can click View All Gateways. And some of these are going to cost money, just so you know. But these are what are accepted. So essentially, you have to have something. You can use Square, for example. So let's say, I want to use Square. As you can see, there is a cost here. Okay, so just letting you know on that. There are some plans. So if you do want recurring donations, then you can come in here and you can purchase, for instance, this Plus plan. And that gives you recurring donations and all the payment gateways. So it's up to you, but for free, without having to pay anything, you can connect Stripe or PayPal. And when you do that, your site will go out of test mode. So it won't be in test mode anymore. And, you can click this at the top, disable test mode, and save changes, for example. You can allow people to do offline. Like, for instance, I'm not going to. I'll turn that off. But as an example, if we had Stripe here, which actually this isn't exactly allowing me. Let me see what's happening. There we go. Okay, so let me refresh. And if I said donate and I put in my name, as you can see, this would actually have the credit card form, but I haven't set mine up. So you'll have to do that for your church, essentially, to do that. If you need to change any of the emails and things, you can do all of that in here by clicking emails. And you can always see the actual individual donations. I'll turn on test mode so you can see that. So you as the admin can come in here and you can see these things. And you can see all the donors as well. So you can, actually see, wow, they've donated things. So that is a way that you can do that. So that is really all there is. I'm sure that there's more stuff. WordPress does need to be maintained. Here's what I would recommend that you do. Come in here first to Appearance Themes and enable auto updates. Then come back over here to the Plugins tab and select on all of these, just enable auto updates for every single one of these. This will kind of keep the site automatically updated so that you don't have to come in here and update this. Occasionally, you will get an update in here for WordPress. Now, we're on the latest version right here, so I can't show you how that would work. But the gist of this is that you do actually need to kind of do a little bit of maintenance on this. I'll make future videos that explain the very minimal steps. It doesn't take very long. You can do it in 10 minutes a month probably or less. And so there are options, of course, where I could handle that for you if it's something that interests you. But I'm always here to help. You can put a comment down below and I will do my best to help you however I can. Okay, so that is all for the technical setup of the actual site. When it's all said and done, you should have your site, your logo and everything else, and you're all set. You now know how to edit it. It's just a matter of going through all the pages.